Laughters echoed through the ballroom. "Who invited that man?" someone whispered. A few guests covered their mouths and laughed. Others stared openly at the stranger standing near the entrance. His shirt was faded, his shoes were dusty, and the small worn-out bag on his shoulder made him look completely out of place. One man smirked and said, "Security should check him. He probably came for free food." What none of them knew was this. Before the night ended, the entire room would fall silent, and many would regret every word they had spoken. Welcome to Word for Life Daily Dose, your daily wake-up call to truth, wisdom, and life-changing encouragement. If you are new here, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a dose of hope and inspiration. This is the story of Roy Mweu, a quiet man whose appearance invited mockery, but whose true identity carried authority. Roy grew up in deep poverty. As a boy, he sold vegetables by the roadside and often slept hungry. People called him street boy, village failure, and useless dreamer. Even when he found work cleaning tables in a small restaurant, customers rarely noticed him except to complain. But Roy carried a dream that insults could not kill. He worked during the day, studied hospitality management at night, saved every coin he earned, and slowly invested in small businesses. The journey was filled with missed meals, sleepless nights, rejection, and setbacks. Yet he refused to quit. Through persistence, discipline, and God's favor, he eventually became a successful entrepreneur. Despite his success, he never forgot the pain of being overlooked. Years later, a major charity organization booked a fundraising gala at the luxurious Roy Hotel and Conference Center, a venue Roy owned. Wanting to observe the event quietly after visiting one of his construction sites, he arrived dressed very simply. The judgments began almost immediately. Maybe he's a driver looking for his boss. Why is he sitting near the VIP section? A waiter politely suggested that he move to the back. Roy smiled, thanked him, and quietly obeyed. The evening continued with speeches, music, laughter, and applause. Some guests kept glancing at him with amusement. Roy sat alone, all through. Then came the final announcement. The master of ceremonies stepped forward and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, we are honored to invite the owner of the Roy Hotel and Conference Center to deliver the closing remarks." The room erupted in applause, but the applause faded when the poorly dressed stranger stood up and began walking toward the stage. Silence swept across the hall. The woman who had mocked his shoes froze in embarrassment. The man who had called him a beggar stared at the floor. Even some of the staff looked on in disbelief. Roy reached the podium, adjusted the microphone, and looked across the silent room. Then he spoke gently. "Tonight I received 2 invitations, one from the organizers and another from human nature. The first welcomed me into this building. The second revealed how quickly people judge what they do not understand." The room remained completely still. He continued, "Many years ago, I was truly poor. I know the pain of being ignored, rejected, and called names. That is why I chose not to respond when I was mocked tonight. Respect should not depend on someone's clothes, accent, or social status. The greatest test of character is how you treat people who seem unable to benefit you." His words pierced the audience more deeply than any public rebuke. When the event ended, several guests approached him to apologize. Roy accepted their apologies warmly and encouraged them to become people who see with compassion rather than assumption. Remember, 1 Samuel 16:7. Man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. The person you ignore today may be carrying a testimony you cannot imagine. The one you call a failure may be in the middle of a process that God is using to prepare greatness. So, before you laugh at someone, pause. Before you label someone, pause. Before you assume you know a person's story, pause. Because what is hidden behind ordinary clothes may be an extraordinary purpose. If this story touched your heart, like this video to help spread this message of humility and respect. Subscribe to Word for Life Daily Dose for more powerful real-life stories biblical encouragement, and daily inspiration. And remember this: many people underestimate what God can do through a life that remains faithful, humble, and persistent. Until next time, stay blessed, stay wise, and keep your heart open to the people God places in your path.